Today I want to do a test with this Vapor with the 04 air unit in it against the Goggles 3 and the Goggles 2. I prefer flying with the Goggles 2 and using the RC2 over the Goggles 3. I just like the way they fit better, but I want to find out if I'm sacrificing anything by staying with the old technology on the goggles. Today what we're going to do is this quad actually has GPS rescue. I'm going to go ahead and fly it down the power line and see how far it goes until it goes into rescue, and we'll look at the on-screen display to see how far it actually goes with both of them. So what we'll do is we'll get in the air with the Goggles 2 and the RC Remote Control 2 from DJI. The first test we're going to do is with the Goggles 2. It's the 04 air unit and the DJI RC2. We're going to go ahead and fly out and see how far we can get before we either get RC loss or signal loss as far as the vision's concerned. So let's go ahead and get in the air. Try to get close to 100 feet in altitude here. I'm going to go ahead and just fly along the power lines here. That way if something goes wrong, I still have a hope of getting it. As you see, we're down to 22, 19. Now we're 12. The HD's dropping out, the RC's kind of hanging in there. Still following the power line. Get up here so I'm closer to 100 feet. I don't know if now it says RC loss. Okay, so now we've dropped out and we've gone to RC loss. So I'm going to call that good. That's 3,900 feet, and that's about all the land I have to fly on here today. So what we'll do is we'll come on back. We'll try the same thing with the Goggles 3. Let me get back here to the landing pad. It's quite a ways out, as you can see. All right, I deem that a good test there. So let's go ahead and change to the Goggles 3 along with the Remote Controller 3 and see what results we get flying the exact same path. Now I've got the DJI Goggles 3 paired up to the 04 air unit with the Remote Controller 3. It's actually kind of neat the way it works because now the Remote Controller 3 pairs directly to the goggles. So when I was binding the goggles to the 04 air unit, I just had to bind the one item. So let's go ahead and get flying down the power line again and see if I should stick with these Goggles 3 or go back to my Goggles 2 that I enjoy wearing so much. We'll go ahead and get about the same 100 feet off the ground. And we'll get heading down the power wire here. right now I would say the Goggles 3 are doing better. See, the HD is actually dropping out before the RC. Now here we are at the end of the property, so I'm out of room to fly. But this is definitely better. We did not go in the fail-safe. So I'm thinking that I probably am going to want to use the Goggles 3 along with the Remote Controller 3 for this 04 air unit. So I guess out with the old and in with the new, but I still do enjoy flying the 03 air unit. The vision's great. And I guess I will get used to these goggles. I just really am not a fan of how it attaches to my forehead, but it is comfortable. I've changed the padding on the goggles, and I'll put a link to the description. I'm using a soft foam padding instead of the plastic because normally here in Georgia it's a lot hotter and I sweat a lot. So let's go ahead and we'll get landing here. Well, I came close to the landing pad there. So right now I'm going to say yes, the Goggles 3 with the Air Unit 4 definitely do make a difference if you're using the Remote Controller 3. And as we saw in the video there, it was pretty much a straightforward side-by-side test with the same quad, and the HD signal did last a little bit longer as well. So to answer my question of can I stick with my Goggles V2, or my Goggles 2, not the V2, and the Goggles 3, I need to stick with the Goggles 3 when using the 04 air unit. If you've made it this far in the video, I would certainly appreciate it if you could click that like button and maybe subscribe for more content like this. If you have an 04 air unit and you're using the Goggles 2 or the Goggles 3, drop me a comment below and let me know what your opinion is as far as, do you think my test was real world or not? I think it was, so I'm going to stick with the Goggles 3 with this new 04 air unit. But hey, who knows? Everybody's different. I do appreciate you all watching, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one.